more than 100 churches, courthouses, schools, museums, and other landmarks in the southern states that played a pivotal role in advancing social justice in the 1950s and 60s. The state of Georgia has 11 of these sites, including the birthplace of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Atlanta. Our correspondent Davyee Sutton takes us to Georgia on a tour walk in the footsteps of MLK.
One of the top destinations people like to visit when they come to Atlanta is the historic MLK home, and just down the street is the original Ebenezer Baptist Church, where both Martin Luther King Jr. and his father preached.
These buildings, a part of the national parks, are critical to the interpretation of the life of Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy as the leader of the American Civil Rights Movement.
Oh, freedom!
You can opt for a guided tour. Tom Hook was the driver for the King family for many years. He marched in Selma, stayed in the Freedom Houses.
Ours was on the other side, behind here, which has since been torn down.
A refuge to civil rights workers.
There were about a third of the General Assembly here.
Now he leads Civil Rights Tours Atlanta. You'll explore the history of Sweet Auburn Avenue while singing freedom songs. And stop by MLK's schools, Washington High School and Morehouse College. There's even a visit to the home on 234 Sunset Avenue, where Martin Luther King Jr. raised his family with Coretta Scott King.
Hello, good people.
Our tour had a surprise visit by close friend and lieutenant of Martin Luther King Jr., C.T. Vivian.
We come to a 50th anniversary. No one thought it would happen.
And you can't be in the South without indulging in some Southern cuisine. So we stopped by the famous Pascal's restaurant, which became famous as a meeting spot during civil rights and a favorite lunch spot for Dr. MLK Jr. Now we head to Macon for a stop at the Tubman Museum.
Harriet Tubman, an American hero who miraculously had the strength to lead the charge of the Underground Railroad, which helped American slaves dangerously escape to freedom.
Though Harriet Tubman was not from Macon, she was born in Maryland, the Tubman Museum is the largest and most comprehensive exhibit dedicated to this American hero. It also offers an exploration of African American art, history, and culture. Albany, Georgia is an important stop to understand the civil rights movement. It was here where Sheriff Laurie Pritchett took sneaky actions to suppress Martin Luther King's nonviolent efforts. Old Mount Zion Church was a place where MLK was brought to inspire the community to continue their protest. Today, it's a museum that recounts the local efforts of the civil rights movement in Albany. And every second Saturday, you can hear one of the original freedom singers, Rutha Harris, share about her experience in the movement.
The only scary moment that we had was when we were traveling through Alabama.
When you arrive to Dublin, Georgia, you'll see Monument Park, which features a mural dedicated to Dr. King's message of peaceful change. And across the street is the First African Baptist Church. Established in 1867, it's the oldest African American church in the city, and the place where 14-year-old Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his first speech and won an oratory contest. Now the church offers guests a reading activity and homage to the history there.
A visit to the Civil Rights Museum in Savannah is where we can learn more about the movement here and why it's considered to have some of the most successful demonstrations in the country.
Savannah was the first city of Georgia and never the capital. The population today is 55% Black. And Reverend Ralph Mark Gilbert is considered the father of the civil rights movement here. He founded the local NAACP. March 16, 1960 was the first Savannah sit-in. Then the Black community of Savannah continued, protesting the local department store Levy's, which refused to hire anyone of color. The boycott successfully lasted 15 months and proved the power of the Black dollar. Finding refuge during the movement was key to its success. Dorchester Academy in Midway was a place to rest and refuel. The school was founded after the Civil War for freed slaves and was designated a national landmark in 2006. Dr. King and his colleagues even planned the 1963 March on Birmingham here. These stops only scratch the surface of the journey of the civil rights leaders in Georgia, but by retracing some of the footsteps of Martin Luther King Jr., we can peek inside this part of American history. For the Jet Set, I'm Davyee Sutton.